What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So here we are for this year's Texas Pro as the men's open bodybuilding prejudging that is now underway. And judging from the first glance from Quinton Beastwood, the man is looking huge and so statuesque and carrying a lot of detail, especially in those quads. So him and Jordan Hutchinson, they were in the same first call out or initial call out when these guys first came out. And we already know that not a single guy in this lineup that can impress you more than Quinton Beastwood, especially in those front shots. Specifically the front double biceps, that is way too aesthetic, way too complete, and way too dominant, especially for this competition. But Jordan on the other hand, he's so thick and so dense. The man has so much muscle on his frame. Now almost all of us predicted that this is going to be a rematch between Quinton and Jordan, just like it was at Tampa Pro. And kind of seems like that Jordan this time, he came in more drier and even more ripped than Tampa Pro. So there is just no comparison between Quinton and Jordan when it comes to that grainy look being dry enough. And Jordan really came here to win the show and make it 2 for 2 in 2 weeks time. In fact, I'm gonna say him and his team, they pushed even harder to earn his second pro win before the Olympia this year, to really solidify Jordan as someone who can potentially fight for maybe top 10 at the Olympia this year. So he can be the breakout star for this upcoming Mr. Olympia. Before you scroll or blink too hard, have you subscribed yet? Please don't make me bring out the emotional blackmail. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. It's free, it's painless, and that makes me look way cooler than I actually am. Now it was the show where Kerrith Bajo, a top 212 Olympia competitor, he decided to go for the men's open. So his first impression in a bigger division against the big boys in the men's open, that is also very interesting. But that being said, I must say this is too deep of a lineup and too difficult of a lineup for him to maybe get into the mix and fight for the top spot. But that being said, I must say Kerrith, he looked much better compared to his 212 looks, as there was no weight cap this time and he came in full blown and his muscles this time were really popping and really standing out. So, another guy who is making his men's open debut in Texas, also switching over from the 212, that is Oben Roxman. And man oh man, I must say wow, what a physique that is, especially without the weight cutoff. Crazy amount of roundness and density on this guy. He is roughly 8 pounds up, meaning around 220 pounds compared to what he weighed at Tampa Pro. But he looks better in every single aspect. And that is exactly what it's all about. So regardless of his placings here in Texas, he's gonna beat his 212 look by a mile, which is probably gonna make him stick to the men's open bodybuilding for the future. And that, I do believe, is the right call. And he can just keep on bringing up more size, more mass, and especially that right leg of his, which at this point seems to be his only weak shot. So basically 3 former 212 Olympians, Kerrith Bajo Oben and Peng Yonglong, they are doing the men's open in Texas Pro. And got to say, all 3 of them, they're looking much better without the weight cap. So now that we have gotten another look from Quinton Beastwood here, it's pretty much clear that he not only looks tighter but also way fuller and way harder compared to what we saw at Tampa Pro. So the biggest difference maker in his physique that we all know can be that back double biceps, which by the way looks like a totally different shot based on the fullness and the thickness that you can see on him this time. And I have got to say, when someone like Quinton, he's truly on and he comes in 100% ripped like the man is today, there is that confidence that's so unbreakable. And today the man is really on. I don't think he has to be in that same condition as Jordan Hutchinson to beat him here, because the man has got everything what bodybuilding is all about. The size, the aesthetics, amazing flow, superb conditioning. And this time the man is taken off too. And the conditioning on him tonight, that might scare a lot of people. So what are the chances that both of the top 2 guys from this year's Tampa Pro show, they stepped up their game big time in just 1 week? This is exactly what we're seeing tonight, as Jordan is also looking absolutely bonkers tonight. Thinner skin texture, great hamstrings and the glutes in both the back shots. And those back shots are gonna be his money shots against Quinton Beastwood, who we all know doesn't have the same thickness and density from the backside. Also, I have got to say the density in his chest and the shoulders, that is also simply awesome. Possibly one of the best out there. And that is also something that Quinton lacks. His chest and shoulders, they appear kind of smooth. And that is something which is genetic on Quinton. And there is nothing really he can do about that. So this is again gonna be a very close fight between Quinton and Jordan Hutchinson. Because this seems like a better peak version of both these guys. And I have to say hats off to both the teams tonight. So Joseph Palacios aka Joe the Machine, who was the biggest shocker at this year's Tampa Pro, I can absolutely guarantee that nobody in this year's Texas Pro lineup is gonna be as freaky as this monstrous guy. Arguably the best combination of hardness and dryness in that entire lineup. And you have got to mention that chest development on this guy. That is bonkers and so mind-boggling. And he's gonna be untouchable in both the back shots. Even before the comparisons, we know that. And that is based on his individual posing routine. He's gonna win both the back shots against all the guys up there. So what an amazing talent. That is truly living up to his true potential. So after seeing Joseph, you can possibly make an argument for him possibly placing higher than, I'm gonna say even third here. Just notice when he hits that abs and thigh shot. His lats attached so low, it's so crazy. So 10 out of 10 for Joseph and his coach, Justin Compton, for peaking him 100% in back-to-back shows. So Patrick Moore also tightened up a bit from Tampa Pro to Texas Pro in 1 week time. And that right there is a prime example of a guy who is way too big for classic physique and simply way too small for the men's open bodybuilding to compete with the big boys. Because honestly, this was an awesome look by Patrick Moore tonight. He looked amazing. But we know he's gonna get that same feedback that he still needs more size, more mass, more muscle all over his frame. And we know not every bodybuilder out there, they can put on muscle after a certain extent. It's just not how their genetics are. Still, that was an awesome look by Patrick Moore. But the lineup simply is way too deep to place, I'm gonna say, even in that first call out. So let's talk about the first call out. Quinton Beastwood and Jordan Hutchinson once again in the middle. The same that we all predicted. So other than these two, we have John Jewett, Kerrith Bajo, and they're on one side, and then we have Bruno Santos and Joseph Palacios on the other side. So a 6-man first call out. And I must say, what a great day for Kerrith Bajo it is, being compared with the top guys in the first call out, and that too in your first ever Open Pro show, and that too a show that has such a deep lineup. What an awesome accomplishment. So John Jewett once again looks very impressive, and he came in ripped to the bone, front to back, top to bottom. But again, it's his shape that is hindering him from placing higher and really standing out. Because we have to keep in mind, he's standing next to one of the most beautiful physiques in the men's open at the moment. So Quinton really is the standout here tonight. But that is only based on the pictures and the videos. He's very tall, very bubbly, and he takes up so much space on the stage. And he just always catches your eye. But that being said, both Jordan and Joseph, especially in the first glance, they look way harder and way drier and way more conditioned than Quinton. So the judges are gonna have to make a very tough decision once again tonight. Because Jordan especially, he's simply too thick and too dense, and he looks so muscular, even standing next to Quinton. So again, it's gonna come down to the preference of the judges. So it was a great overall show tonight. A total of 26 guys in the men's open lineup. And as a bodybuilding fan, we wish to see this type of stage and the lighting and the whole setup that was so amazing. So it would be so amazing if more and more shows, they can follow this kind of setup, just like Detroit Pro. So Jordan versus Quinton, who did you guys have winning after the prejudging? Let me know in the comments below. And also hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. And smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.